you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Barry Erickson, and I'm Community Engagement Coordinator here at Wheaton Public Library. Tonight, we are proud to bring you this panel of service providers. A representative from each of 4 different local organizations will highlight ways that they assist and engage with refugees and immigrants, and even perhaps more importantly, tell us how we can get involved as well. So again, we have 4 different presenters tonight. We're going to start with Carol Garcia from Literacy DuPage. Thanks so much for being with us tonight, Carol.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here with you and with the other providers, all of us working and serving residents of DuPage County. I have a slide presentation that I'm going to share with you. So let me pull that up. There we go. All right.
Looks good, Carol. You're all set.
There we go. All right. So I wanted to share our mission and vision statement with you because it really does drive what our organization does. We're a volunteer organization serving DuPage County. Our mission is to help adults achieve their goals through accessible and customized tutoring. And our vision as an organization is to empower adults, families, and communities through literacy. So we actively recruit volunteers year-round and students, adult students who reside in the county and have a need to learn English or improve their English skills. We were founded in 1972 by community residents Thelma McPherson and her friend Joanne Grittner, who began tutoring a family member of Thelma's. And as the Indo-Chinese refugee community established itself in the Glen Ellen area, Thelma and Joanne had to start recruiting their friends to also help with tutoring. And so our tutoring program grew from that point forward. We were originally known as a Literacy Volunteers of America organization. And over the years, that configuration has changed. Now we're a member of Pro-Literacy, which is a national volunteer literacy and advocacy organization. We have a very diverse student population. This slide is the data that I'm going to show you. It has been taken from our fiscal year 2023, which ended on June 30th. So the demographics haven't changed all that much as we begin our fiscal year this year, 2024. This slide shows the top 10 countries represented in our program. In our program, with the median family income for DuPage County is approximately $93,000. Our student population, however, has average income of close to $30,000. So you can see there's a large disparity between income levels within the county, and much of that can be the lower income can be attributed to limited English proficiency. And so our interest is serving the students who have the lowest levels of income and language skills in the county. This is just a graphic to show you the different representation of that information. Approximately 60% of our learners demonstrate extremely low income. 28% have very low income. This slide gives you an idea of our student population by education level. Nearly 60% of our students do have some level of post-secondary education. However, they're in our program because although they may have a professional training and background in their native language, the commonality with all of our students is that they don't have the English skills that they need to communicate effectively in their everyday lives. This slide highlights the top 10 languages that are represented in our program. We have, as we saw in an earlier slide, we have approximately 50 countries represented in our program and 30 languages. So there's a lot of diversity in our program and it throughout DuPage County. Our learners represent a very wide variety of students. Some of them, as I said, may have high levels of education and were professionals in their country. We have students who have never had the opportunity to have formal education. And we're able to work with students across the entire spectrum. We are not an academic program. We don't have a structured curriculum that we follow. We're able to customize all of our tutoring to the immediate needs and goals of the student. We're especially focused on developing survival skill English and English that will provide a solid foundation for students to move through our program. And then our goal always is for them to continue their education and enter a transition into a structured program such as COD, World Relief has a structured program, other adult education providers in the county. So we have English as a second language, and then we also have an adult basic education program. The difference between the two programs are English as a second language has more of an emphasis on developing the listening and speaking skills that students need or participants need in their everyday life. Adult basic education in our program is focused more on developing reading and writing skills. So students would come into the program with a high listening and speaking ability, but they don't have the commensurate reading and writing skills. So we're able to provide that type of tutoring to students to help increase their level of language proficiency, either in listening and speaking or reading and writing. We have 3 different types of tutoring assignments. The majority of volunteers in our program work one-on-one with a student. They meet every week with their student for a minimum of 2 hours. They meet at a library within the community, typically of where the student lives. Another opportunity for tutors is to do small group tutoring where a tutor would be matched with a student who is at the same level of language proficiency, and the tutor would work as a small group with 2 or 3 students every week. And then for tutors who've been in our program and want to have more experiences working with students in different capacities, we offer conversation groups throughout the county with our library partners. And the majority of our groups are now meeting again back in person, but we do have some groups that meet virtually as well through, and our partner libraries provide the host Zoom link for the virtual conversation groups. Right now we have 12 conversation groups that are running in the county Monday through Saturday. So in our mission statement, we talked about providing accessible tutoring to the community. So accessible tutoring for us means that students come to our program because they haven't been able to access more traditional programs, perhaps because of transportation problems, work schedules, or they might have a childcare. They don't have appropriate childcare for their children. Or maybe they have been in a traditional classroom before and it just wasn't a good fit for them at that time. So tutors and students set their own schedule. They determine the time, place that they're going to meet, and then that they manage their own schedule every week. The snapshot of our program, as I said, we're primarily a one-on-one program. We provide training for that. It's a 15-hour training for if people are interested in joining our program, to go through a training, and then you're matched with a student while you're in training, so you can be actively tutoring while you're receiving training. You're able to come back to your cohort training group and talk about your tutoring experiences and get peer support from each other. All of our the focus of our program and the activities that tutors and students do is determined by the needs and goals of the student. So during the intake process, we do an initial evaluation of goals. And then once the tutor and student start working together, those goals are further discussed. If something changes in a student's life, let's say they initially wanted to work on language skills, they needed to talk to their child's pediatrician. But then they most recently have been in a car accident. So now they need to know about talking with police, filling out insurance forms, other types of things that are related to that accident. The tutor is able to pivot and work with the student on the language that they need to be able to navigate and negotiate whatever that particular situation is. There is no cost to tutors or students to be in our program. The services are provided with no charge. I mentioned that tutors typically meet their student at the student's home library location. We're a monolingual program in that we're an English immersion program. So it's not necessary for a tutor to know another language, because we want the instruction to be given in English. And it's and then the training, the tutor training provides information about methodology, methods, techniques, pedagogy, and adult learning theory. This is a slide which gives a nice overview of the typical kinds of things that students might work on with their tutor in our program. This is, we like to celebrate our students' success. This is a collage of tutors and their students after they've had some type of achievement at some point in their tutoring time. I'm going to share a video with you that is a very short video of tutors and students talking about their experience working together.
I am a tutor.
I'm a tutor. I am a tutor with Literacy DuPage.
Tutors have a passion for helping people. They see that there's a real need. They want to be part of that solution.
I spent 20 years working downtown in corporate banking, and then about 20 years ago, we sort of made a decision that one of us needed to stay home. It's like adult. So how I found Literacy DuPage, working in a soup kitchen, and one of the people working with me had a student, and she said, "Oh, why don't you try this?" And then they assigned me Pablo and Linda. I got Linda because she was trying to move up from being the bus girl in the restaurant to the waitress. She had an immediate need to improve her English, and next thing I know, Pablo and Linda come as a team.
This person's on the bottom.
So Pablo was more challenging. He has worked in body shops, he's worked in restaurants, but almost invariably with Hispanic people. And so it's a lot harder for him to get the reinforcement on a constant basis. Literacy has done a great job because we go in twice a year for a checkup, find out what was working and what was not, and they always gave me good tips and resources.
I tell a lot before I can speak nothing, and now I speak a little more. Right?
What did she cash?
The check.
That's right, they're checks. They're hardworking people, good parents, they're good neighbors. Pablo and Linda, they embody the American dream.
To communicate with her children.
When people come to Literacy DuPage, what they need to have is a desire to form a relationship with someone.
With Christian, one of the things that's been real important for her is her children. She's wanted to learn about the school system. Principal, and she's motivated to learn the language because the more she understands, the better it is for her children. She's a good teacher. Questions that help with comprehension. She feels much. A savings bank. I love the group. We meet once a month to meet people from so many different parts of the world. They all say this is the only time that they get to speak English. I can't think of a better way to spend my time. What better place to volunteer?
We are fortunate to have 400 volunteers with us each year, but we need to increase that number significantly to be able to meet the need in DuPage County.
I think all of us have the teacher in us.
Sign up for a session, do it. It doesn't take that much time. The rewards are endless.
I'm a tutor.
I am a tutor.
I'm a tutor with Literacy DuPage.
I'm a tutor with Literacy DuPage.
Volunteer with Literacy DuPage today and become a tutor.
Okay. So in our program, I wanted to share with you some of our staff. Lori Hoffman is our program manager. I'm Carol Garcia. I don't think I introduced myself when what my role with the organization is when I started. My role is to provide tutor support. So once you complete training, then you're working directly with me to get your student match, and then throughout your entire tutoring experience, my role is to support you and your student to ensure that you have the direction and materials and access to whatever you need to be successful with your student. Anna Aguilera is our intake coordinator. So she's the first person that students interact with coming into our program. Anna, if you do become a tutor with us, Anna will also work with you initially to get you scheduled for an orientation session to our program and help you get registered for the tutor training that you would join. We have a variety of tutor materials that we are able to provide to tutors. We also publish a monthly newsletter for tutors, which is focused on different aspects of language acquisition. On our website, we have a collection of links and resources that are there. Monthly, we have a peer tutor mentor meeting, which is held twice a month, and it's an opportunity for tutors in the program to meet together and exchange ideas, troubleshoot things, and just make a connection with another tutor. And then we have a requirement, a minimum of 2 professional development activities per year for tutors to continue their development as a tutor and learning more about our student population and language acquisition. And this is our contact information for our organization. Our office is located in Wheaton, across from the county fairgrounds and the health department. And that concludes this part of my presentation. I have one more slide that I want to share with you, though, more specifically about learners that are coming into our program right now, focusing on the recent arrival of refugees, asylum seekers that are settling in our area. And so this is a comparison between our fiscal year 22 and 23. So you can see with students coming into our program, primarily from Colombia, Brazil, and Venezuela, that it's doubled in the last fiscal year. Ukrainians entering our program now we have 20 active students that have recently arrived from Ukraine. We have 16 from Central Asia. And so we've had we have a lot of students that are in our waiting pool, waiting for a tutor match to get started. And it is, as I said, we're always welcoming new tutors into the program. We offer a training every month to get you started, and I'm happy to field any questions at the end of this presentation or talk with you at a later point. Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight.
Great. Thank you so much, Carol. And so now we'll turn the screen over to Paul Lewis from People's Resource Center. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Paul.
Great. Thanks so much for having me, Barry. I really appreciate it. So my name is Paul Lewis. I'm the Director of Adult Education and Employment with the People's Resource Center. So tonight I just want to give everybody a brief overview of some of the resources that we provide clients living in DuPage County. So wanted to start off by just giving it a basic overview of our mission. So People's Resource Center is our community exists to respond to basic human needs, promote dignity, justice, and create a future of hope and opportunity for the residents of DuPage County. So we were actually started in Wheaton in 1975. So we're coming up on our 50-year anniversary here in 2 years. We were started by a woman named Dorothy McIntyre. She was a mother of 8 living in Wheaton. So that's her up there in the right-hand corner. So Dorothy was very active in her community and had a strong network of people who realized that, you know, while Wheaton had a lot of resources in the community, she still found that there were a lot of people that were going hungry. So she kind of banded together her group of friends and started collecting food. And in 1975, that was their first year that they actually started giving out food to their neighbors. So it was done here in this house in Wheaton. They collected food and stored it in a basement, and people would line up and they would open the basement window and hand people a box of food, and they would be on their way. So the first year, they served just under 100 families. And to put that into context, on any given day at our food pantry in our Wheaton and Westmont location, we serve anywhere. We're definitely over 100 families served every food pantry, but lately on average, we're serving between 120 and 130 families per session. So we've grown quite a bit since then. So today we have 2 brick and mortar locations. The first one is in our hometown of Wheaton, and we also have another brick and mortar location in Westmont, which is across the street from Ty Warner Park. Both of those locations have a food pantry and is full service. So we offer all of our services that I'll talk about here shortly out of both of those locations. Outside of our brick and mortar locations, we do have several partnerships with other community organizations and churches and libraries throughout DuPage County. This allows us to offer services to individuals living in DuPage County who otherwise might not be able to access our services at those brick and mortar locations. So our idea is that we're going to be in a bunch of different communities in DuPage County, so people living anywhere in that county have an opportunity to interact with us and get service by us if need be. And so this is just a list of some of the different services that we offer in and around DuPage County with some of our external partners. So these are just some statistics from last year. So we gave out over 4 million pounds of food last fiscal year. We gave out 73,000 carts of groceries. We had 3,600 food retail donations. We served just over 6,500 families. We had over 5,000 hours of literacy tutoring. Sorry about that. We had over 1,100 hours of job coaching workshops, 683 computers provided, 576 visits to our closed closet, and over almost 2,900 community art clients that participated in a workshop. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the services we offer. So I'd like to, first just let people know kind of who is able to access our services. So all of our services are free, and they're free to anybody that lives in DuPage County. So there's no income requirement. There's no other requirement other than you need to live in DuPage County. So we offer many different types of services that are kind of broken down into two different parts. So our first portion is our basic services. So that's going to be your food, clothing, and shelter, but we divide that into three different parts. So we have our food pantry, which operates out of our Wheaton and Westmont locations. They are and this service flyer is a little bit old, so the most up-to-date information about our food pantry is going to be on our website. We update it and change it pretty often, but we do offer in-person shopping now. We don't do curbside pickup anymore. That's probably the biggest change. So people actually can come and walk into our food pantry and pick up the items they need, similar to how they would go to a grocery store. In Wheaton, that is done so during the food pantry hours. At Westmont now, you do have to make an appointment. The demand in Westmont was so high that in order to manage the flow of traffic, we have to do it by appointment only. So you can just call our Westmont office, and they're able to make an appointment for you over the phone if you're interested in accessing food through Westmont. We also have our emergency assistance and our social services program. So we offer rental assistance and car repair assistance if you're eligible. So we would be able to pay for part of a car repair and for 1 month's rent if you are in a bind and you're eligible. Those are the only services that are income eligible, and that's due to some grants that we receive from the state of Illinois. We also have our clothes closet, which runs out of our Westmont location. So you can call and make an appointment, and then you can go out to our Westmont location and pick out different items of clothing. We also offer our empowerment services. So these are free classes, programs, and workshops that we offer at some of our external partners, as well as on-site at our Wheaton and Westmont locations. So we have our art program. Our art program, we run different classes and workshops throughout the month, and they can be anywhere from a painting workshop to drawing to making something out of clay. There are workshops that are geared more towards families. So these are workshops where you can bring your children. And this is just really designed to help build community. This is a great opportunity for you to come and showcase your creative streak, while also giving you the opportunity to interact with your neighbors. We also offer our computer refurbishing and repair. So that's our computer access program. So if somebody is in need of a computer, we have a team that refurbishes computers and then gives those out for free to the public. So we have desktops and laptops and Chromebooks. So if you're in need of a computer, you can call and make an appointment, and we can actually provide you a device for free. And these are not, old computers that are 15 years old. All of these computers are either, some of them, we've been able to make some computer purchases. So a lot of them are very new computers that are only gently used or refurbished. But almost all of them have cameras, like webcams, and they have to at least be 5 years old in order for us to give them out to the public. So you're going to get something that's either 5 years or newer. So the technology is very up to date. We also have our computer training programs, which will allow our clients to learn how to use the computers that they get from us. So we have very basic computer workshops, and then we also do we are Microsoft Office certified, which means we have instructors that can teach Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel over the course of several workshops, and individuals that complete those courses and take a test can actually get certified through us on the Microsoft Office suite. We also have our job assistance program. So we have job coaches and resume writers that can assist clients in helping them find a job, helping them practice interviews, helping them find different careers that they might be a good fit for. We do workshops on, we do resume reviews. We have workshops on LinkedIn. I just did a workshop today on ChatGPT. So we offer a lot of different 1-hour workshops that can give people some information about certain pieces of the job search. And finally, we have our literacy program. So similar to Literacy DuPage, we have We have tutors that work with clients on improving their English language skills. So we do one-to-one ESL tutoring. We have what we call conversation circles, which is small groups where that are at the same ability level that can practice speaking to each other and learning to improve their English. We also have one-to-one tutoring in GED classes and citizenship. So for many of these, every one of these programs we do have at least one bilingual volunteer. So while we would love to be able to recruit many more bilingual volunteers, we do try to accommodate if there are people that are not English speaking that do still want to interact with these services. I mean, literacy is obviously we can take people at all different literacy levels, but we do try to have at least one Spanish speaking volunteer, so we can assist those that don't speak English. But mostly our volunteers are Spanish speaking. So we don't have anybody that speaks any kind of Eastern European language. But we're working to try to recruit more volunteers that are more bilingual with various different languages. So outside of those services, we have a few special programs that we offer every year. We have an annual career fair that's in March at the Wheaton Public Library. Last year we had 140 people attend, and we had 20 different hiring organizations and community resources there. So it was I'd like to say a big success. We do a back to school event every year where we pack backpacks full of school supplies and hand those out to families in need. We also do Share the Spirit, which is our holiday giveaway, where we provide families in need with winter clothing and gifts that they can give to their children during the holiday season. We do a client survey every year, and I always like to showcase the results of this survey. This is a survey that we did in 2022. We should have the results for 2023 here very shortly, but I think the results speak to itself. I feel like the community trusts us, and the community feels very welcome here. So not only our volunteers, but also the people that come and utilize our services, they feel welcomed at PRC, and they feel more hopeful, and they're more likely to tell friends and family about our services, because I think we offer, one of the things that I really enjoy about PRC is we have a lot of things under one roof. So, if you need access to multiple services, we're not referring you to other agencies. We try to take care of you in-house. So I feel like that's really important with building rapport and relationships with those people in the community. So these are just some pictures. These are pandemic pictures when we were curbside pickup only. But these are some pictures of our volunteers hard at work. So becoming a client is really easy. So there's two different ways that you can do it. The first way is to show up during a food pantry session. We have a team of intake volunteers that'll collect some very basic information from you. You'll take a needs assessment so we can understand what services you do need. And if these are services that we offer in-house, we'll set you up with the program managers so you can get signed up for classes and workshops. If there's services that we don't offer, we do have a lot of external relationships with other community organizations, and we can do soft handoffs and referrals to those organizations. But again, one thing to preference is it is free to become a PRC client. And once you become a PRC client, you're able to access all of our services. The second way to become a client, we do have an online form that you can complete. So typically, if you call for empowerment services, we have an intake volunteer that can do the PRC new client survey with you over the phone, or they can send you a link in an email and you can complete it in your own free time. That typically takes a little bit longer because we are seeing a pretty big increase in the number of clients we're getting. Those take a little bit longer to enter in our system, and so there's a little bit of a lag until you completed the survey until you're actually a client. So I always recommend, just so you kind of know what we're about, if people are interested in becoming clients, have them come during food pantries so they can see our operation in person and speak to somebody in person. I'm very big on doing as many things in person as we can, given the sense of we just spent the past 2.5 years doing everything over Zoom, and we're really as an organization, we are very people centric. So we always encourage people to come and interact with us in person. We enjoy talking to people much more in person than we do over Zoom. when it comes to interacting with our clients. So I always recommend that people come in person and speak to our intake officer if they want to become a client. So this is a picture of our food pantry. Some exciting news to share is we are actually in the process of building a brand new building that's going to be, I think, triple the size. Our new food pantry is going to be much bigger than the one you see in this picture. It'll allow us to collect more food and have a much bigger space for people to navigate, which means we can serve more people. We'll have a lot more parking, which is, if you've ever been to our location, parking is a hot commodity. So we're very excited about this new expansion and this new project. We just broke ground, or actually we're breaking ground, I think technically on this coming Tuesday. So, or today is Tuesday, next week, I think it's next Tuesday, is when they're actually going to be starting to demolish some of the old buildings and we'll be building a new one. So we're very excited about that. And that is all that I have. And this is just a picture that somebody made at one of our art programs to celebrate the Thanksgiving season. So I look forward to any questions that people have at the end.
All right, thank you so much, Paul. That's great. All right, so I'm going to turn the screen now over to Susan Sperry from World Relief. Thanks, Susan. You're muted.
I sure am. Thanks, Barry, and Paul and Carol, thank you so much for what you shared. I love both of your organizations and I'm just honored to be able to be here, and honored to be with all of you who are here to learn a little bit more about how to welcome in our community. So as I share screen, I want to begin by sharing a story of someone that World Relief had the privilege to serve not too long ago. And as I do, I want to introduce myself. I'm Susan Sperry, the Executive Director for World Relief Chicagoland. We have 3 offices across the Chicagoland area, one in the north side of Chicago, one in the city of Aurora. And our largest location is in Carroll Stream in DuPage County. And Petro is a man who arrived with his family from Ukraine because of the war. And when he came, he, like so many other Ukrainians, had a sponsor here in the US who had committed to help him. And sometimes what we see is that sponsors have the best of intentions, but aren't able to provide all of the support that people need. And so Petro and his family quickly found themselves in a very crowded home with 4 other families who had recently arrived. It took a while for his work authorization to come. And so he was in this very crowded home, didn't have permission to work yet, didn't have an income, and had no idea how he would move forward to provide for his family. And someone connected him to World Relief. And when Petro arrived to our office, we were able to help him find an apartment to move his family into and help with that first month of rent and security deposit. And then his work authorization soon arrived, and he met with some employment counselors at World Relief who were learned that he had been a truck driver in Ukraine, and he really wanted to get back into that. So we were able to help him connect with a program to pursue his CDL, his license to be a commercial truck driver in the US. And he learned enough English to be able to do that. And so eventually got his CDL and is now driving trucks and able to provide for his family. And I share his story because it is just a powerful story, one of literally thousands that we see at World Relief, of the resilience and the determination and the hard work of refugees and immigrants who are making our communities their home. Right now in the world, over 108 million people have been forcibly displaced. And what that means is because of war, or sometimes because of natural disaster or violence in their countries, they have been forced to flee their homes. That equates to over 44,000 people each day, and actually a much faster pace now than 1 person every 2 seconds. This is by far the highest number since World War II. And at World Relief, we aim to partner with local churches and our broader community to step in the midst of this challenge, and at least locally, to do our part to welcome refugees and immigrants and help them reach stability and build a sense of belonging in our communities. And World Relief is a faith-based organization, and we serve people from all faith backgrounds, and we partner with people from all faith backgrounds and experiences. And in that, we aim to extend welcome. And that can look like volunteers who go to the airport to pick up refugees when they arrive and bring them to the apartment that we've secured for them. We provide vital services. Some of the services that Petro was able to receive. He connected with a case manager. He was assisted to find housing. He had an employment counselor walk with him as he found his first job. Counseling services, youth services. And we aim to help people build relationships and build a sense of belonging. All of us are made for community, and it is so important for us, and so important for both newly arrived immigrants and people who have been in our communities for a long time to be able to connect together and build relationships. There are several core areas of programming and help that World Relief provides. These include immigration legal services. So our immigration system is very complex, and we come alongside people to help them apply for their green card, for citizenship, and help families reunite. A large part of what we do is family reunification by helping people with the application processes they need to pursue to have family members join them here. Economic empowerment, which includes employment, finding the first job, and then pursuing a career path. We do resettle many refugees. This year, we're resettling just over 300 refugees in DuPage County from countries around the world, including Myanmar and Venezuela, Ukraine, Sudan, South Sudan, and Iran, Afghanistan. And refugees need support as they rebuild their lives. And one of the ways that we support refugees and many other immigrants is through case management. And that really just boils down to helping people meet their goals, get connected to the services and supports that they need. We alongside Literacy DuPage and People's Resource Center, we provide some education support, specifically meaning helping people learn English, helping adults learn English and gain the English skills they need to be able to succeed in the U.S. Our children and youth programming includes after-school programs, as well as helping families navigate the school system. We are providing a lot of support to asylum seekers and migrants and helping them take their first steps in the U.S. and access the supports they need. And then we provide some counseling as well through our counseling center. World Relief serves immigrants, including refugees, and that includes the people who fall in the categories listed on the screen, as well as many others. And just a quick snapshot of the last year. This past year, throughout our Chicagoland offices, we served over 6,500 people, and that includes, or that was made possible by nearly 400 church partners and over 1,000 volunteers. And at World Relief, we talk a lot about our focus being on both helping every person who walks through our doors reach a place of stability, whatever that means for them, so that when life is getting hard, which it does for all of us, they have a place to root, and they know who to go to for help. They have access to resources and to a supportive community. But we also want to help people on their journey toward long-term integration, of the sense of long-term belonging. And one of the ways that I just want to end with a brief story. One of the ways that we have done that this past year is through women's groups for Afghan women. And these, it might seem kind of theoretical, like we all go to the library and have a group together, but these have been very vibrant communities where women, many of whom had never been to school in Afghanistan, never learned to read or write in their own language. They have come together and begun learning English, begun the long journey of literacy in a new language. And they have also been learning in these groups really important details about life in America. For example, how to use car seats well, or just today, they were learning about the difference between an adult medicine and a child's medicine, children's Tylenol in a pharmacy, and why it is so important to use children's medicine with children. These groups have been so life-giving for the women, and we had a graduation ceremony just a few months ago for the first cohort who was finishing, and one of the women stood up and shared with me that just the day before, she had been at the dentist office, and she had learned enough English to recognize the words tooth, pull, and she realized that her tooth was about to be pulled, and they had not asked for her permission. They hadn't explained to her what was about to happen. And because of what she learned in the class about advocating for herself, she was able to say, no, don't pull my tooth. I want to understand more. And she was able to speak up in that moment in a way that was so empowering and life-giving for her. That's what we want to see through all of the work that we do together in our community. There's a lot of different ways that people get involved. You see some of them on the screen, as well as a QR code that will take you to our website. But I want to highlight just a few, and that's focused on serving. We have many ways to serve. One of those are group service projects, and that can also include collecting some of the household items or winter coats that people need as they are rebuilding their homes. There's also projects to help out in a warehouse with household items and furniture donations. There's long-term opportunities, and by that we mean about 6 months, where you can be paired with a newcomer and help them learn the community and begin to navigate the culture, serving long-term with a group of people. So some of our volunteers will gather 3 to 7 friends together and form a team that can walk alongside a family, and they'll help with things like doctor's appointments or practicing English or going to the library and getting a library card. And then there's a number of ways that people serve through, we call it Serve When You Can. And that's often with transportation. So, for example, many volunteers will pick refugee families up from the airport, and they just receive an email with dates and times that are available and sign up for what works for them. So many ways to get involved, and the impact is tremendous. Certainly, the impact on people like Petro and his family, the Afghan women I shared, they have been greatly impacted by the contributions of people throughout our community who are taking tangible steps to welcome. But thank you so much. And Barry, I will turn it back over to you.
Great, thank you so much, Susan. It looks like maybe our representative from the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights may not be available. So let's take just a couple minutes for questions with you all, and then if she has a chance to hop back on, we'll turn the screen over to her. Paula, if you're available, I'm wondering, someone is asking where the new People's Resource Center facility will be.
Yeah, it's actually going to be right next to our current facility in Wheaton. So it'll be right off Naperville Road. So like Naperville and Roosevelt Road, kind of right downtown in Wheaton. But yeah, it's basically, we're going to have our own complex. So we bought the 2 buildings next to where our Wheaton location is. We're going to demolish those. And so we'll have the old building that we have now, and plus a brand new facility. So we'll just be able to accommodate a lot more people.
Wow, that sounds great. So right near the tracks there. And will you be able to continue the food pantry during the building process?
Yes, that is every intention to do so.
Right. Okay. Well, and while we have each of you here, perhaps you can just let us know, and people can continue, of course, to put questions in the Q&A if you have them. But where, maybe within your organization, where's a place where new volunteers tend to start their first entrance into the system and getting involved? Carol, why don't we go ahead and let you start, and we'll let each of you take a turn and answer that. I think you're muted.
Yep, there I am. Okay. So as a volunteer organization providing tutoring, that would be the initial place to start, would be as a tutor. Other opportunities for tutors to get involved would be doing community outreach and community presentations. Are several ways that tutors can get involved. Certainly, as I mentioned, doing small group tutoring versus one-on-one tutoring, leading or facilitating conversation groups as well, are other opportunities. We do have special projects that occur at different points during the year, and we recruit volunteers to help with those projects as well.
Great. How about with PRC, Paul? How do people tend to get started as a volunteer?
I'd say typically people first get started in our food pantry, so they'll do a food pantry shift, either working out in our parking lot, talking to clients, or stocking food and things like that. That really gives you a good understanding of how big our operation is, also the types of clients that we serve and what their needs are. And then I think from there, depending on where your special skills are, if you want to be a job coach or teach an art class, or you like tinkering with computers, usually you can go into one of those more specialized, more longer term volunteer positions. But I'd say most people start off doing a shift in the food pantry.
Great. I'll let Susan go ahead and answer that question about how volunteers might get started, and then we'll turn the screen over to Jocelyn. But go ahead, Susan. How do people get going?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've pasted in the chat both our website and an email address if you're interested in learning more. There's kind of two ways that most people get involved. First, one is through collecting some household items. For example, a hygiene kit of various hygiene products. We have a list, and people do that sometimes with family or with friends. And that's a first step of getting connected. And then another early way is a conversation cafe. And that's just a one-time commitment, usually during the day, and it's over Zoom, where people practice English with English students. And it's a great way to provide a lot of value to some adult students who are wanting a native English speaker to practice English with. And also just a great way to try it out and see if maybe English tutoring is something you're interested in, or connecting more with any of World Relief's clients are of interest.
Great, thank you so much. All right, well, we are delighted that Jocelyn Aranda Ortiz is able to be with us tonight. So Jocelyn, if you want to go ahead, there you are. Hi there. And I believe you do have, I'll make sure that you are a co-host so that you can screen share if you'd like to share some slides with us, and we'll go ahead and let you get started.
For sure. Thank you so much, everyone. I know you might have seen me like bounce in and out. Our Wi-Fi has been not the best with this weather, unfortunately. So it's been coming in and out. So I've been running around, the whole office and the whole building to find a good place with good reception.
But be sure to, I don't know if I had a chance to announce your organization. So be sure to tell us where you're from.
For sure. So my name is Jocelyn Aranda Ortiz. I work with the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights. also known as ICER. We essentially do a lot of legislative work in the state of Illinois, and we've been kind of in the forefront of a lot of the recent arrivals, alongside with the city and alongside with the state. So today, essentially, what I'm going to be providing is the basics of our mission, some type of partners that help with legal services as well as public benefits. So if you do have any questions on how to get involved, I know we're in a time crunch since it does end at 8, and I don't want to keep you too long on a Tuesday. Please feel free just to let me know. I am looking at the chat, so again, just let me know if you do have any questions for me. If not right now, maybe afterwards, but whatever it's like, I would like to continue having the safe space that you all have created already, and be comfortable enough to ask me. So today we're going to specifically talk about asylum resources. With this specific resource, I made sure to kind of cultivate and emphasize the aspect of overall resources. So any individual that might be undocumented, or might identify as an asylum or recent arrival themselves. All right, so I always mention the mission of ICER first, which is ICER is dedicated to promoting the rights of immigrants and refugees to full and equal participation in the civic, cultural, social, and political life of our diverse society. One of the biggest aspects that we do this in is we absolutely love and enjoy, you know, promoting the actual educational aspect to our organization. So making sure that we're giving training to community members, community allies, and those that are providing those direct services to our community members when it comes to immigration overall. We do Know Your Rights, we do Immigration 101, we do ICER resources, and basically anything that you can think of, even from cultural competence and workforces. We just want to make sure that our immigrant communities are being taken care of in all aspects of institutional support, making sure that our immigrant families, you know, individuals and constituents understand that the resources are there, right? But making sure that those resources are given to them and meet them where they're at, whether it's through our hotline, whether it's through our community events, or whether it's through our partnerships with over 130 nonprofits across the state of Illinois. And one of the biggest things that I really like to mention, specifically for legal services for asylum seekers, is that, you know, now with TPS currently going on, that they're being granted, we want to make sure that a lot of the asylum seekers are being automatically or at least somewhat connected to some legal services, either near them or they can call to make an appointment. Like I mentioned previously before, when it comes to asylum seekers, at least some type of status or situation when it comes to legal needs to be addressed, whether it's changing their address, whether essentially it's changing their court date and their court location. I will say most to all of asylum seekers or recent arrivals that have arrived already may have a court date in a whole different state. And the reason for that can be very complicated. So essentially, we want to make sure that their court date is changed as soon as we can. And we want to make sure that we're, you know, essentially connecting them to organizations that can help with that entire process. We want to make sure that they're being taken care of and also being connected to some type of organization that can provide case management that can help them essentially throughout the whole process when it comes to legal and public services. So on the screen, I did list some. These are not all of the organizations that can help with that legal process. They all are requesting some type of, you know, calling them or to set up an appointment. Some of them are not requesting that. Some of them are accepting walk-ins. So I did list some of the organizations like I mentioned, so I can leave the screen up. I'm also going to be sharing these slides out after the presentation, so you all can definitely refer to them when you have time. All right, another biggest aspect that I always mention is public benefits, specifically for asylum seekers. There is a huge misconception that asylum seekers cannot apply and for public benefits, which essentially has created this huge caveat between the recent arrivals that have gotten here, have settled, whether they're in police stations or in apartments at the airports. They have this fear that if they apply to certain public benefits, it can essentially come up under asylum case. Specifically here in Illinois, asylum seekers can apply to at least 2 public benefits, at least 2. There's a lot more. It is mostly just a case-by-case base. With that being said, the first one would be victims of trafficking, torture, or other serious crimes, also known as VTTC. And the other one would be women, infant, and children, also known as WIC. These are two of the most known programs that asylum seekers qualify for. There is, obvious requirements that each of them need to follow, which is the super importance of actually being able to connect them to some type of nonprofit organization that can help them with that entire process. Making sure that they're being taken care of, making sure they're being connected to some type of case manager that will not only help them, apply, but essentially maintain that relationship throughout the entirety of the resettlement. So like I mentioned, VTTC is one of them, which essentially provides some type of medical benefit, as well as food cash assistance card. The second one is WIC, which is essentially given to individuals that may be pregnant, recently gave birth, and have children under the age of 5 years old, which essentially gives them some type of supplemental nutrition. And this is super, super important since a lot of them are currently staying in shelters, police stations, and essentially like respite centers that may not have the best food options. And essentially a lot of the children may go malnourished, as well as babies, as well as mothers. So it's making sure that, moms are being connected to this specific program too. With that being said, I will not provide programs without giving you an answer of the actual organizations that can help with this entire process. On our left, we can start with Casa Michoacán. These are the organizations that specifically help, at least in the city of Chicago. And on the right, these are organizations that help at least within the suburb area of Illinois. So we want to make sure that, again, we're not just saying they can qualify for these benefits, but not giving you some type of answer or results to these. So I have listed a couple of them. There are a lot more and a lot lengthier organizations that are not on here. Another big aspect when it comes to services is mental health services. It seems like, one of the biggest things that a lot of the recent arrivals are encountering is mental health services and the lack of resources that they can get. One of the biggest things is also the stigma of mental health services. So making sure that they're being taken care of, as that 2-month, 3-month journey that they experience is very traumatizing to them. So it's making sure that, that they themselves, their family, or maybe even friends, essentially get connected to mental health services. Again, on the left, I did list some of them that we have worked with throughout the entirety of last year, since the whole situation has started of the migrant crisis. And if you're in the city of Chicago or in the surrounding areas, there's also 211. They also provide, a referral for mental health services, but this is mostly just an option, just in case, you do not have a list of those mental health services. 211 is essentially used for a lot of different other things, at least within the city of Chicago, which is the reason I did mention, or I did list a couple of them. And these are just organizations which are part of the Coalition for Immigrant Mental Health. So they tend to have a larger list, which I can definitely share with you all too, to keep on your person or within your organization. Then we do have the Family Support Network Hotline. Essentially, it was created in 2011, at least within ICER, and it's specifically only for the constituents of Illinois. This hotline is equipped, to make sure that we can provide referrals to those that are calling in. This is not an emergency hotline, but like I mentioned before, it's more of a referral hotline. So if individuals want to call in, we do have, staff equipped in English, Spanish, Polish, Arabic, and Korean to make sure that we can adequately help the individuals that are calling in. With that being said, we do a direct referral. So individuals would have to call in, leave a voicemail. We will return the call at least within 48 to 72 hours to make sure that we're giving them that referral to them with at least 3 to 4 different options, whether it's public benefits, or whether it's legal services, or whether they have any immigration questions or concerns. Like I mentioned, I know that was a lot, and I know we're on a time crunch, but I want to say thank you so much for having me, and I do apologize for the back and forth and the whole internet outage. But if you do have any questions or any further questions, I did list my email, so please feel free just to let me know if you do have any questions.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Jocelyn. That was fabulous. Like you said, a lot of great information there. Again, just a reminder, if you have any questions, to go ahead and put those in the Q&A or in the chat. Justin, I will just toss out the same question to you as that I asked the others. If someone is interested in volunteering or making possibly some donations or something like that to your organization, what's a way that people tend to get started when they're just kind of walking in the door to begin with volunteering?
Yeah, that's definitely a great question. With that, we are coordinating more volunteer coordinators, especially for donation sorting, donation drop-offs, possibly even being connected to mutual aid groups. So if there's any interest in that, please feel free to send me an email. And I can make sure to connect you to the specific mutual aid group or organization that may be closest to you.
Okay, great. Great. Well, thank you so much to all of you. I don't see any other questions, but thank you to each of you representatives from these great local organizations. It's so important for us to know all that's available out there and ways that we can get involved. And again, the goal is to see people coming into our community as neighbors and friends and getting connected with them. And you all enable that. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. With that, we'll say thank you for joining us. Take care, everybody, and we hope to see you again soon. Oh, I should mention, I will be sending out the links to all of these organizations in a follow-up email for you to click on and explore. If you are watching the recording of this program and would like those links, just email me at ce@wheatonlibrary.org. That's CE for community engagement at wheatonlibrary.org, and I'd be happy to send those links out to you. But again, thanks for joining us, everybody. Take care and have a great night.